Good afternoon. Good afternoon to everybody. And first of all, a big thank you for your attendance and for allowing me to talk about a topic I care a lot about. We know that connecting everyone to digital services is one of the greatest challenges of our time. A faster rollout of high-speed internet connectivity will materially contribute to unlocking broader economic growth across Africa, as well as serving the poorest. Accessing the internet not as a luxury, but as a lifeline. Several studies and papers underline that to action this usage goal, stakeholders must address the affordability of 4G devices, as it is one of the key entry barriers. So in my presentation, I will first define the problem of 4G devices affordability, as well as the opportunity, and then present the framework of actions proposed by a few papers, among them the United Nations Broadband Commissions and the World Bank ones, of which Vodacom has been one of the largest contributors. As we all know, Africa has the lowest internet penetration rate across the continent. However, in Africa, there are countries like South Africa, Kenya, Mozambique, Egypt, Lesotho, where smartphones and mobile internet penetrations are the highest across the continent, and in some instances aligned or even greater than the world average. Such a performance has been driven by operators' products and subsidies, as well as very advanced distribution networks. Nevertheless, this is not the case for the majority of African countries. Vodafone Group has been implementing plans and actions since 2014 to drive device affordability and digital inclusion, and has been cooperating at the highest level with the institutions and multilaterals to achieve the goal of connectivity for all. We strongly believe that at the industry level we can unify the efforts and programs to achieve such a target. We all know that 4G and 5G connectivity provide a much better, more reliable, faster internet mobile customer experience than 2G and 3G, and that the vast majority of applications can be fully exploited only with the support of 4G speed. Nevertheless, it could be useful to highlight some data and insights about the potential benefits of 4G. A World Bank study underlined that 4G adoption in Africa could cut poverty by 4.3%, and has identified 6 activities: news, government, health, education, shopping, and social media, requiring a minimum of 6 gigabytes per month, which can be easily managed by 4G products. An AFC study estimates that a 10% boost of broadband access penetration could increase GDP per capita by 2.5%. So 4G and obviously 5G connectivity are the answers in terms of technology solutions. Let's move to the problem. There is a material street price gap between 2G phones and 4G smartphones, which makes 4G smartphones unaffordable for a large part of African population. Such a gap is a reflection of the bill of material, as obviously 4G technologies, as well as the components starting from displays and memories, are more expensive. Nevertheless, this gap is also exacerbated by other factors, such as import duties and taxes, applied considering smartphones a luxury and not a lifeline. Some markets are also affected by shortages in terms of limited allocation of foreign currency, which make the import or production of smartphones erratic and not sufficient. As a consequence, according to the studies mentioned in the slide, 2.5 billion people worldwide live in countries where the cost of smartphones is a quarter or more the average income. Specifically in Africa, an entry 4G handset could cost 63% of the average monthly income. Vodacom, with Vodafone and in partnership with the United Nations Broadband Commission for Sustainable Development, co-led the first multi-stakeholder study to identify strategies towards universal smartphone access. The report was presented at the United Nations General Assembly held in November 2022, and I had the honor to attend as one of the key contributors. In summary, the working group identified 3 interventions that will have the most immediate effect on smartphone adoption. First of all, flexible device financing to reduce the initial cost barrier. Second, reduce taxes and import duties. And third, improve the distribution models. Alongside these measures, the report recommends further investigations into the use of device subsidy and the reuse of pre-owned smartphones. So let's start with device financing. There are a few financing models already implemented in some African countries. They could be divided into 2 categories. The ones with no pre-scoring of customers and addressing customers via mass market strategies. The one implementing pre-scoring and targeting such a customer cohort with specific CVM models. Methods using scoring solutions are always more expensive for customers to cope with the higher bad debt risk. Nevertheless, all the solutions leverage on locking mechanisms. In essence, the device is locked and not usable in case of missed payment, and is unlocked if the customer restarts the payment installment plan. Needless to say, multilaterals here can play a decisive role in allowing financing and de-risking the bad debt part, as well as government in terms of simplified regulations for such types of lending schemes. Vodafone Group has launched the easy-to-own prepaid handset financing solution in South Africa, similar products in all the other markets, and Lipa Mdogo Mdogo in Kenya, which means pay little by little. In this market, Vodacom also cooperates with partners offering financing solutions like PayJoy and Nkopa. Import duties and local production. Markets with lower import duties are showing the highest mobile internet penetration in the continent. So the best way to facilitate internet adoption is reducing duties for entry or affordable smartphones to reduce the gap between the production cost and the street prices. For markets where duties are very high, local production or local assembly could be an opportunity, although usually more expensive than factories located abroad. Free trade agreements could also help and facilitate the move of goods across African countries. Needless to say, governments and institutions play a key role on this topic. Pre-owned devices. In principle, a flow of second-hand 4G smartphones could expand the offer of affordable devices and allow to achieve very convenient price points. In practice, there is a very good worldwide availability of iconic, top-class devices refurbished and resold, above all iPhones, but very limited or no availability of entry products. Vodacom launched this good as new proposition a few years ago, which gives to customers a variety of pre-owned devices with the 12 months peace of mind Vodacom warranty, and it drives consistent monthly sales. Obviously, the proposition also unlocks benefit in terms of circular economy and a greener planet. However, the current availability of entry very affordable second-hand smartphones is quite limited, and the lack of an agreed grading scale and clear regulations make the implementation complex for digital inclusion purpose. Here, regulatory bodies, international institutions and government could really help and support to unlock the full potential of the initiative. In terms of production cost, a lot has been done. Vodacom launched Vodacom-branded devices in the market in 2014, products optimized with suppliers and partners to provide a high-quality customer experience at an affordable price point. More than 10 million Vodacom-branded devices have been sold so far, driving digital inclusion. Subsidies and incentives were and are also used to reduce the street price of the devices and generate elasticity. The United Nations Broadband Commission report suggests more investigation and study on the subsidized business models, because on one hand, it's true that subsidy provide a massive growth of smartphones, but on the other hand, they risk not sustainable in the long term, especially if only operator carry the cost. As we described, the cost gap between 2G phones and 4G smartphones is still very material and jeopardizes smartphone adoption. Recently, a light browser concept has been applied to 4G feature phones to, on one end, reduce the phone price to the minimum, stripping out expensive memory costs, and on the other end, give to customers a first tool to access the internet before jumping to smartphones. In other words, the services and apps stay in the cloud, and the phone simply has the browser capability to access them in a very easy and end-user-friendly way. Compared to the traditional full-equipped smart feature phones like iOS ones, the cost could be reduced up to 40%. In terms of customer experience and services, several apps and content are already available to customers. But again, only a cooperative approach with all the entities across the value chain could make it successful. First of all, unlocking WhatsApp availability among the accessible apps. Equipping the younger workforce with the digital skills is a mandatory imperative for Africa. 375 million young Africans are expected to enter the labor market by 2030. Digital platforms can absorb a substantial number of these new jobs seekers, but without a combination of the right skill set, appropriate device, and affordable internet, many could miss out and remain unemployed. About the initiatives put in place by Vodacom on digital education, I would like to mention Connect You. It's not appearing. Yeah. The free access platform with information on jobs, health, digital skills, powered and managed by Vodacom. Included in the platform, Vodacom eSchool solution allow learners and educators to access curriculum-aligned content free of charge. I would like also to mention Vodacom's Code Like a Girl program. This is an initiative that contributes to building a more digital, inclusive, sustainable future while tackling low representation of women in science, technology, engineering, education. The purpose is to introduce unprivileged girls to coding basics and career paths that are related to the current and future skills needs. The program has been up and running since 2017. As seen in the previous slides, all the value chain stakeholders, from manufacturers to government to over-the-top players and international institutions, should be involved and cooperate. Partnerships are fundamental to address this giant issue and opportunity. Government can help with the relaxed taxation. Wider access to foreign currency capital facilitated by multilaterals can improve the sourcing of 4G devices and the development of local assembly and local factories. Additionally, mobile operators can introduce device financing options to make device payment easier. Main device manufacturers could help with more affordable top brand phones for Africa. OTT service providers like Google and Facebook and multilaterals could support operator subsidy and financing schemes, as well as guarantee their app availability for all the solutions. Last but not least, governments, operators, and institutional entities can work together to provide clear incentives and regulations to unlock a flow of good quality second-hand devices for Africa. As I said, I'm very passionate about this topic. It's really a matter of serving disadvantaged communities as well as unlocking massive value creation for Africa, heading towards a digital society thanks to financial and digital inclusions. Partnership and industry mobilizations are the key part of the solution for a full inclusive society which leaves no one behind. Here you can see a list of references and papers, articles, and studies on the topic. Feel free to contact me if you need more details. A big thank you.
Thank you so much, David. Thank you so much for making it again this year. Yeah, he's coming. Please give it a big round of applause.